network, when they have the tools, they can really make a change. So our girls are doing peer education, they're doing girl leaders interview, they're writing articles, they're hosting online discussion, they're having offline events in their schools to raise awareness in their peers. So what I can see is that the young girls, when they have the opportunity, they can really make a different future.
For me, gender equality is deeply personal as a female and even more personal as a female founder. As a founder of a community that's all about changing the paradigm of how people see the beauty industry and people within the beauty industry and representation in the space across every type of representation, skin tone, skin type, cultural background, gender. These all play a part in the larger conversation of making sure representation and being seen as equals, no matter where you come from or what you look like, is the reality of our existence.
What Girl Equal means to me is that girls are given the opportunity to affect change in their communities and in the world. I actually got to work on the Time to Rise campaign where we did a video alongside Teen Advisors, and it was so inspiring to be around these young women who had visions for the future, who were leaders and activists in their communities, and it made me hopeful.
Hi, I'm Hannah Alper, and for me, hashtag Girls Equal Innovators. Girls equal change makers. Girls equal the leaders of today and tomorrow. We need to close the gender gap that still exists around the world, and we can do it together. We need to invite girls to have a seat at the table, pass the mic, and help girls that are affected more than others, especially those that don't have access to an education.
I would say that I think girls equal potential. I mean, if all of the girls who don't currently have access to educational opportunities could go to school, just imagine what the world is missing out on.
What hashtag Girls Equal means to me is keeping all girls empowered, that we are recognized by our skills, talents, and contributions, not by our looks. To me, it's all about making sure girls have the same opportunities as boys, no matter what the situation is. I like to play football and basketball. In fact, I play on a lacrosse team. These things do not make me a tomboy. They just make me a girl who likes to participate in these type of activities.
The Girls Equal Change campaign launched by Grow Up to Me means the identification of freedom and representation of every girl and young woman power to unleash their potential for or just for it.
To me, Girls Equal means that respect for women's rights and the gender equality are the norm. That's something that we are born to have and cannot be deprived for any reason.
Hi everybody, my name is Rocio Ortega, and to me, Girls Equal means that every girl, no matter her background, no matter where she comes from, can have access to her rights, such as getting an education or accessing her sexual and health reproductive rights, and most importantly, accessing her right to vote.
To me, Girls Equal is much more than just a campaign or a hashtag. It is a statement that we use to let the world know that we are not going to give up until every single girl around the world has the same access to opportunities and resources so they can live a safe life.
What's at stake when women and girls don't use their voices to engage on issues that they care about is so much, which is why it is so important that you do so. It jeopardizes our future to not have the rights to our own body, to not having the basic education for our menstrual cycle, which some girls around the world still aren't getting.
The Girl Up Foundation has done an amazing job at creating change for women globally. What I think is at stake when women fail to realize how important their voices are is a lack of our voices being heard. It's very simple. Doesn't matter which way you vote, all that matters is that you let your voice be heard. Because when you use your voice, you not only empower yourself, but you empower other women to do the same.
When girls and women don't use their voices to engage in issues, when girls and women are systemically held back from their voices being heard, or when barriers stand in our way to using our voice, inequality grows. Every voice matters when it comes to decision making, whether it's voting during an election year, having a seat at the boardroom table, or using social media as a way to share our ideas. too much is at stake if we don't speak up. So now is the time to make our voices heard.
Having a voice, having power, does not come when you're 18 and have a vote. It comes when you realize that the voice inside your head is needed to be shared outside. It comes when you step up and realize that the change you've been waiting to see is the change that is in yourself.
As we stand in line to cast our ballots to vote this year, it's important to remember that we are a testament to the strength of democracy and to the resilience of humankind when our right to vote and craft the world that we live in has been tested time and time again.
I can't just pick one. There are many favorite memories, but they all revolve around the theme: how I get inspired, motivated, and humbled looking at our Girl Up leaders. They know how to care, they know how to advocate, they know how to pick a cause and just go for it.
I think that's something with the election coming up that we have to continue to consider, is the fact that it's our time as a generation and it's our turn to take responsibility for our world and to create the world we want to see in the future.
I've been involved with Girl Up for the last 10 years, and I'm passionate about the work that they do because Girl Up believes that girls equal change and that every girl deserves a fighting chance to make the world a better place.
Organization, I've had a first-hand account of the issues facing girls and women around the world, issues around gender equality and the fact that there is no country in the world where women are equal. And inequality for one is a disservice to all. Girl Up is changing that. We're all making sure that every girl gets a fighting chance to make the world a better place.
I'm inspired by your passion, by your confidence, by your take no prisoners attitude. Nobody is taking no for an answer. You're charging ahead, and these awards are designed to recognize you for your perseverance.
Our girls have risen and shown resilience in such hard times. And this event celebrates all those girls and women who have gone above and beyond to stand up for themselves and for those in their community. I hope you enjoy your time at the event. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Davis, President of Feminine Care at Procter & Gamble. I'm excited to be here on behalf of Always to celebrate the change makers that are turning passion into action and transforming the world. For more than 35 years, Always has been committed to championing girls' confidence. From redefining what it meant to do things like a girl, to helping girls with the period education and products they need, we continue tackling barriers that prevent girls from reaching their full potential. We know that when girls are given the opportunity, they will seize it, and we're thrilled to be here today to celebrate so many girl heroes. To the girls who are pushing through obstacles to drive meaningful change, we applaud you. Keep leading with purpose, as this will be your guiding light, your source of energy, and inspiration for others to join the cause. Let's keep working together to achieve a more equal world. The future is yours, and we're here to support you always. Congratulations, Girl Up, on your 10-year anniversary, and congratulations to all the Girl Hero Award recipients. We can't wait to see what you do next. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to the 3rd Annual Girl Hero Awards. Obviously, we are coming to you virtually this year, as with many other things. I'm one of your hosts, Melissa Kilby, Co-Executive Director of Girl Up. Before we get started, I want you all to take a moment to share this broadcast with your friends and family. It's not too late for them to tune in. So go ahead, get your phones out, tell them to go to our website. We are streaming live on YouTube, so that's a really easy way to find us. Also, there is a virtual photo booth in this event platform. So if you feel like you want to take a selfie after your favorite honoree, add to the conversation and the experience. We started the Girl Hero Awards in 2017 to celebrate a community of fearless women warriors and allies. These warriors chose to stand together for change. 3 years later, we're back to do it again. Thank you so much to our presenting sponsor, Always, and to our event sponsors, UiPath Foundation, the Stadler Family Foundation, Dove, and Noble Panacea for making this event possible. To our wonderful co-chairs, donors, and Girl Up staff. Also, thank you to our partners at Theory for this Power Pink blazer, and to our partners at Uni Design for a very special Girl Up bracelet from our Girl Up collection. You actually can all get one of your own. And of course, thank you to the everyday girl heroes like you for tuning in and giving us something to celebrate in these tough times. Now, I'd love to introduce you to my co-host. I am actually not the co-executive director, but I do have a co-host today. And I'm so excited to bring on a longtime supporter of Girl Up who has been with us since the beginning. Nigel Barker, a Girl Up champion, photographer, TV personality, feminist, dad, husband, son, and a friend. Over the last 10 years, Nigel has shown us that when we work together, we all win.
So much, Melissa. What an honor it is to be here. And you know what? I'm so proud of Girl Up. It's quite extraordinary what's happened over the past decade, and I'm just very, very excited to celebrate it right now.
So happy to have you with me during this event today. You and I both know there's more at stake for women and girls than ever. And gender equality gains are receding in the US and elsewhere. But we're also on the brink of a new era when every voice counts. Sadly, the strides in education alone that have been made, there are still 132 million girls out of school. And because of the pandemic, millions of these girls may never return. The risk of violence hasn't decreased. The impossible standards of how women's appearances are judged and valued hasn't improved. And the burden that women bear across country, creed, and class when it comes to domestic and family care, it hasn't balanced.
And this is why the work Girl Up is doing is so urgent. And it's true that when girls rise, we all rise. Together, we're fighting for a world where equality is not the exception, but the rule. A world where gender is not a requisite for access to opportunity or equal rights. I want to create a world that's safe for my daughter, my wife, my friends to thrive.
In some countries, gender equality has improved. In others, attitudes about gender equality and the value of women appear to have worsened in recent years. And that just simply means that any progress that we've made, we can't take for granted.
With 4,000 clubs now in 125 countries, Girl Up's community of Gen Z leaders are moving the needle forward to finally close the gaps and change things for generations to come. This event is about legacy, about generations of activists passing the torch to young Gen Z leaders to carry through to the finish line.
Women's rights are human rights, and women carry with them more than just their gender identity. With the racial justice revolution reignited this year with the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and many others here in the US and around the world, it is a glaring reminder how gender inequality cannot be untied from racial and socioeconomic inequality. It will take everyone to change the tide of this intersectional crisis.
And today, we're asking for your help. Through the generosity of Girl Hero sponsors and donors, this event has already raised $170,000. But we need your help to get us to our goal of $250,000 today. All event long, you'll be able to donate by texting Girl Hero to 707070. That is GIRLHERO to 707070 at any time, okay? Or click the donate button below your screen. And please help us reach our goal. Your support allows Girl Up to inspire and connect the young leaders of this movement, giving them the skills and positioning them to be the leaders the world needs now more than ever.
Thank you, Nigel. Over the next hour, we'll join conversations with 6 revolutionary activists. Some you may know, and others we're so happy to introduce to you today. Girl heroes and gender equality advocates in their own right.
Let's get to it, shall we?
I can't wait. Yes. So our first girl heroes are Bronx-born activists that have taken their experiences and passions and turned them into fuel for change. Tarana Burke is the founder of the Me Too movement that in 2006 sparked a worldwide tide of survivors and sexual violence standing up and making their voices heard. She is an organizer and a civil rights activist that has spent her career working to interrupt sexual violence and other systemic issues disproportionately impacting marginalized people, particularly Black women and girls. She has inspired so many with her story of healing and her ability to create an inclusive movement that has shined a light on the elements of our society that needed a public spotlight.
Aaliyah Logan is a young advocate dedicated to education equity, gender equity, and safety in communities without militarization. As the director of outreach and youth engagement for New York-based anti-gun violence organization Youth Over Guns, Aaliyah fights for her community's right to live free from gun violence. As a Girl Up Teen Advisor alum, she's a leader and a role model for countless girls in the Girl Up community.
We are so proud to honor these powerful leaders. Now, let's hear from our girl heroes, Aaliyah and Tarana, in conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Melissa. It's an honor to be speaking to you today, Ms. Tarana. And it's an honor to be presented with this Girl Hero Award. Girl Up has presented me and provided me with so many opportunities and resources to be able to just have my leadership skills and also show the world my leadership skills and show the world the power that young women have in when it comes to activism.
Yeah, I would not be here if not for organizations like Girl Up and youth and believing in youth leadership development. You know, organizations that came into my community and told me at a very early age that I had power. And so it's an honor both to be receiving this award from Girl Up and to be receiving it with you, Aaliyah, because honestly, this work started because of girls who look like me, like you. And just to know that is continuing in another generation is really, it's the best gift and honor that I can receive. And thank you, Melissa, also for choosing us award.
Yes, you hit the point there with that. I think this is all an intergenerational movement where we're empowering young people, but also looking upon our elders to be able to make sure that we're getting wisdom for them within that. And for Ms. Tarana, I did want to ask you a question on the beginning of the Me Too movement. So I've done a lot of research on when it started, but I would love to hear from you. Did you imagine it becoming as big of a movement as it is today? And if so, what was the process of that going through, creating it and seeing what it is today? And is it what you have hoped for?
I think one of the lessons that I've learned in the last 3 years is that as big as I wanted Me Too to be when I first started it, I envisioned it being, because nobody really wanted to talk about sexual violence. It wasn't a topic that people, even in social justice circles, really wanted to tackle. I thought that I would create something that would resonate from survivor to survivor. And that people would see like Me Too bumper stickers or like decals in your window and know that that was a safe space for survivors, kind of like the rainbow flag is for the queer community, right? I wanted something that signaled to other survivors that they weren't alone and that we had this, global community But even in wanting that, I think I kept that in the back of my mind as like the the north furthermost of stars, right? The north star. And I don't know that I actually believed that it was possible. And so one of the things that I've learned in the last 3 years is that even Black girls who dream don't tend to dream big enough, right? Because the world tells us that we can only have but so much. You can achieve and accomplish, but somebody's going to put a limitation there at some point. So to answer your question, it is both what I dreamed it would be and not what I thought it would ever be. I am in awe every day that we are, kind of allowed to continue this international dialogue about sexual violence, this ongoing dialogue, growing dialogue about sexual violence. And I'm pleased. I'm always still very much like, wow, here we are. So it's just been a fascinating journey to me. So I have a question for you.
Okay, go for it.
And I mean, it's kind of thinking about what I just said about big dreams. I think I was fortunate enough to know what I wanted to do at 14. And you're so young, and it seems like you're on that path already in a very similar fashion. So I'm wondering about what your big dream is for the world. Like I know you're passionate right now and you're working on gun violence, but I saw in your bio, you deal with gender equity and economic equity and all these other things. So what is your big dream for the world?
That is a great question. And I don't even think I can give a concrete answer right now to you, but I think when I'm looking at my work and I'm looking at the different, fields that I'm in, whether it's gender equality or gun violence prevention or even education equity, I think there's this underlying foundation of making sure that spaces are safe for people who look like me and for people who don't look like me. I think, starting this work from a young age, I've always thought that, and I've always seen this, that if I wasn't in the room, and me being a part of so many different identities, I'm Jamaican, I'm a child of immigrants, I'm a Black woman, I'm from the Bronx, like being a part of all these identities were really important to me. But when we got in those spaces and when I was in those spaces, there weren't people who had those identities. There weren't people who spoke like me or looked like me or came from the same cultural background. So I knew it was very important to have myself in the room to be able to advocate, for my larger community as a whole. But I think my hope for the world and my dream for the world is to be able to create and actually build safer spaces for students and for young people, and specifically for Black and brown girls, who are oftentimes left out of the conversation when it comes to these issues that are most impacting us and impacting our livelihood. My biggest dream is to work at the United Nations doing international work when it comes to defending human rights. And I think that's the way I find myself creating those safer spaces for young people around the world. But right now, I really try to make sure that I'm empowering other Black and brown girls to be able to get out there and use their voice and let their voices be heard. I think oftentimes people say, give the voice to the voiceless. And I kind of disagree with that, because we're not voiceless. We're here. Right. We're here, we're speaking, and we're speaking up, but it's just no one's listening. So I think that's
say
very
this all the
important
time.
model.
Yeah, people say things like give voice to the voiceless. So you've given voice to so many women and survivors. And I said, no, we just figured out a frequency where you can hear us. We've been screaming and singing the same song for decades and decades and decades. And somehow or another, we've stumbled upon a frequency where folks can hear us. So, I actually have another question for you.
Okay.
Because, we're Bronx girls. BS.
Boogie down.
we couldn't get out of here without throwing up our F. And one of the things that was always a challenge for me when I was growing up was when I traveled outside of the Bronx, I would say I was from the Bronx. People had no idea what that. Oh, are you from the projects? Oh, is it really terrible? How do you get back and forth to school? Is it safe? I mean, the misconceptions run deep.
Exactly.
And when you look around, right, Bronx girls are running the world, right? From AOC to Cardi B, we are everywhere.
We are out here.
Right? We out here. And so I think about girls coming from the Bronx now, and with this new, like, I think the ideas about the Bronx have changed some because of the mainstreaming of some of the folks from there. Do you feel a particular kind of, two things? Do you feel a particular kind of burden because you're from the Bronx? And do you feel a particular kind of motivation because you're from the Bronx?
I mean, this is a great question, and I don't often get asked this question because I don't think people realize, you know, the connotation that people have when I say, like, I'm from the Bronx. And thank you so much for asking that. And I think when I first started, you know, my activism, I was about 13 or 14. And of course it has changed since then. But when I first started, I was kind of like disappointed to be from the Bronx. I think the disappointed is not the right word.
Yeah, but I get I get what you mean.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm from the Bronx. And I didn't shout it out as much as I do now. But as I progressed throughout the years, I'm like, I'm from the Bronx. Like, this is my home. This is where I'm from. And anytime I'm at a speech, anytime I'm at an event, I'm always like, I'm a Jamaican American youth advocate from the Bronx. Those identities are so important to me. And I think when people see someone like me say I'm from the Bronx, it breaks those types of, you know, connotation that they have, that people from the Bronx are not educated or are not smart, or we have to speak in one way to be viewed as educated. So I always jack up from the Bronx all the time now, just because I'm breaking that narrative. And I'm also showing other young people my age that you can be from the Bronx and be well educated.
Do whatever
you can
want.
Speak. Exactly. You can speak how you want. You don't have to speak in a specific dialect or a specific tone to be viewed as smart or well educated. And a lot of times the work I do is just sitting down and having conversations with other young people and saying, well, like, we're from the Bronx, like they're either gonna listen to us or we're gonna say it louder.
Yeah,
So
I like that. You're gonna listen to us and we're gonna say it louder. That's it. People call me a Bronx nationalist. I rep the Bronx everywhere I go. I make sure people get it
know
clear
I'm from the Bronx.
all day.
Yeah.
I'm from the Bronx. I wore my bamboos today in honor of the Bronx.
I should have put mine on. But I think it just definitely motivates me so much more to see where I came from in my community. Like, I live in a neighborhood that is full of different people, all from the West Indies, from the Caribbeans, like, and that's just so important to my identity, to be able to say, like, yeah, I'm from here, like, yeah, I'm from this island, like, I'm all of these things, but I'm also well educated, I'm also eloquent, I'm also all of these things, and you can be both simultaneously, and we don't have to like choose one or the other. So thank you for that question. I rep the Bronx forever now. I think it's been a learning process, but I rep it forever. Yeah, so I have one last question for you, and I think this past summer we've seen the Black Lives Matter movement, you know, across the world, people standing in solidarity with Black lives and defending our human rights and our human decency. So as a part of the Me Too movement, do you see any parallels, or do you see any ways that both of these movements come together as one?
Absolutely. I think that one of the challenges of this moment is that people can't see can't naturally see that link, right? One, I had people saying, why are you talking about this? This has nothing to do with Me Too. And I'm like, first of all, my Black life matters, right? I'm a Black woman who has visibility and a voice. I'm absolutely going to use it to amplify the concerns of my community. But also, there are very few social justice issues that are not inextricably linked to sexual violence. And if you care about Black lives, then you have to care about the fullness of Black lives. We don't just want to not be killed by the police. We want to live full lives and thrive. And one of the things that takes away from that is the violence that we experience. And a lot of that violence happens at the hands of the police. Now, the thing that people need to understand is police brutality is the number one complaint against law enforcement in this country. The number two complaint behind that is sexual violence. And if you know that Black people have a higher rate of adverse interactions with law enforcement, then it only bears to follow that Black women would be having adverse interactions in regards to sexual violence, right, with law enforcement. We had a police officer like 5 years ago, Daniel Holtzclaw, who was tried and convicted as a serial rapist of Black women in his community just because he knew he'd get away with it. So this is not far-fetched. This is not something that people are speculating on. There is a direct link between the valuing of Black lives and the valuing of Black survivors. There is an epidemic of sexual violence in the prison system. And the prisons are overrun with Black people, right? There is an epidemic of Black trans women being sexually assaulted and murdered. All of that matters, and it's all connected to both the work that we do in the Me Too movement and the amplification of Black lives and of caring for Black lives. So there are many links between these two movements. I think they happen simultaneously, and they complement each other. And for certain, like, Patrisse Cullors and Alicia Garza are friends and have been incredibly supportive of the movement and the work I've done, both before and after the viral hashtag. And I feel the same way about them, and all of the people who are moving forward the efforts, the movement for Black lives. So it's an incredible moment. It's an incredible moment, I think, not just for Black people, but for all people, right? I think all of this work deepens our humanity. And if we are not connected to ways to deepen our humanity, none of this will matter. None of this work will matter. None of this activism, organizing will matter if we are lost, as if our humanity is lost somehow in there. So, yeah, thank you for that question. I think it's an important one to explore in this moment.
Ms. Tarana, thank you so much for being here and speaking with me today. Congratulations again for your Girl Hero Awards. It's greatly deserved. You are absolutely amazing, and it was an honor, to represent the Bronx with you on this panel. Thank you so much to Girl Up again for this award and for continuing to invest in young girls around the world. It is organizations like Girl Up that continues to defend human rights for young girls.
Thank you, Aaliyah. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you. It's such a pleasure to see young people, particularly young women, who are carrying the torch forward. And I can't thank Girl Up enough for this honor. Congratulations on your award as well. I know it's the first of many. And and I just appreciate what the work of Girl Up and the work that you were doing, Aaliyah, as both an organizer and activist in your own right.
Wow, amazing! No, just amazing, Alyssa. What just such inspirational words. And you're right. I mean, I think the world itself is moved right now. I mean, the world is this is the right time. I mean, if we look back, we certainly think about the past decade. There's sure strides have been made, but it feels in many ways like it's been one step forward, two steps back sometimes. But right now, I feel that we're on the edge. We're on the cusp, and it's just so incredibly refreshing to hear words like that.
And I just have to say, I'm so proud of Aaliyah. She is holding her own with an icon who we are all so incredibly inspired by. I know I am, and Aaliyah has been one of my role models since the day that I met her. And the way that she just marches forward with power, it's like you're right. It's not two steps forward, one step back anymore. Like, we're just marching forward, and I feel like Aaliyah is really leading us in that way. What an amazing conversation.
100%. And everybody out there, if you want to support the leadership training, activism, and social impact work of leaders around the world like Aaliyah, just click the donate button below or text Girl Hero to 707070.
Thank you, UiPath Foundation, for supporting us as we unite girls to change the world. Monique Coleman has been part of Girl Up's journey from the beginning. She is a friend and a girl hero to me, to so many of my colleagues, and as you will see, has made a tremendous personal impact on so many of our girl leaders. Monique has been a champion to Girl Up in every sense of the word, showing up every time we ask. She has never missed a leadership summit. And we had the honor of traveling to visit our partners in UNHCR in Ethiopia a couple years ago. She has given so much of herself to this work and to the girls of Girl Up. Monique, thank you for being our original girl hero these last 10 years.
Your moment becomes my moment, because every single seed that you plant is another garden.
One thing you have to know about Monique is that she doesn't just talk the talk, she actually walks the walk.
If you're ready to look up, speak up, stand up, step up, rise up, and re-up, visit girlup.org.
She reminded me that even the people that I look the most up to, they are humans and they live and feel the same emotions that I do.
From her passion of balancing her work in entertainment to impacting the world for greater good, she is indeed a great role model.
How lucky are Girl Up leaders to have a role model as amazing as Monique?
I think for far too long there's just been not just gender inequality, but also a lack of gender equity. And Girl Up and events like this really not just raise awareness, but it also inspires action.
She just teaches me to be myself, that it's okay to be myself.
You will not always get to see the results of the impact that you've made, but you have to trust that impact.
Monique Coleman is the kind of woman that when it speaks down, everyone sits down and listen.
Monique Coleman, to me, it's much more than just an inspiration. I was amazed by how sincere she was. She's really a role model.
Wow. Wow, I'm so moved. Thank you so much. Years ago, someone said to me that we teach what we most need to learn. And so when I started out with Girl Up and I stood on this stage and I said that you are enough, or that you are powerful beyond measure, or that your voice matters, or that we're not the leaders of tomorrow, but in fact, the leaders of today, I wasn't just talking to the girls in the audience. I was also talking to myself. Everything starts out as an idea before it turns into an action. And as much as I've invested in Girl Up has given me opportunities that I didn't believe I deserved. And so I just want to take this moment to say to all of you that you have the opportunity to do that for girls around the world. There are girls who have no idea what their limitless potential is. But when you invest in them, when you give them an opportunity to see who they are, it's unbelievable. Thank you so much for this incredible honor. Thank you so much to my friends at Girl Up and all the beautiful ways that you've just empowered me. I love you, and here's to the next 10 years.
Wow. Again, wow. I mean, Monique is a ray of light. I mean, literally, when you see her at any of the events, and when I've had the opportunity to meet with her and talk with her, she just glows from the inside, right? And you see it here. She's the most authentic and just beautiful person. And ultimately that translates and it moves over to everybody. Anybody who meets her, it's contagious. And we need so many more leaders like Monique and people to stand up and speak out. And she says it so eloquently with such power. I mean, I've got to say, I've been sort of almost moved to tears just listening to her right now. I mean, it affects us. I mean, I've been a part of Girl Up for a decade myself. And I remember when I first got involved with Girl Up and I had my little daughter was just born. And of course, now she's a young lady, she's 11 years old. And it's literally, when I think of the 10 years, I can track it through my own daughter and what the world was like for her then and what her potential is now.
Yeah. Well, I just have to say, Girl Up is so lucky to have champions like Monique, like you, Nigel. You know, it really does take all of us and a big community and all the platforms that we all have to move this work forward. And obviously this event is an amazing platform to just celebrate role models and champions. And so I think, I'm excited. Let's get to our next honoree conversation. Reem Bedran is a young activist and Girl Up teen advisor from Beirut, Lebanon. She's a founding member of Girl Up Lebanon and Girl Up Arab World, and creator of Arab Girls for Peace, a movement aiming to bring tangible change to the Arab region while tackling gender equality, girls' leadership, and women in political and peace-building leadership.
And Dolores Huerta, a civil rights activist and community organizer, has been committed to the work of demanding equal rights for all people for over 9 decades. She's worked for labor rights and social justice for over 50 years and later established the Dolores Huerta Foundation to engage and develop natural leaders in community organizing, civic engagement, and policy advocacy.
2 trailblazers, 2 organizers, and though their activism crosses many time zones and a couple of decades, their dedication to social impact unites Reem and Dolores as our girl heroes.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be on this call. It is my absolutely privilege and honor to be alongside a huge icon as Dolores Huerta. Thank you, Carla, for changing my life. It is my absolute privilege to receive this award during this time from an organization that has built me from deep inside.
I feel the same way. I feel very honored. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to have this wonderful conversation.
Thank you so much. So I guess we can get started. One more time, thank you so much for allowing me to interview you. It is my absolute privilege. And I really want you to know that you are a huge inspiration for lots of Girl Up leaders. You've been an organizer for 60 years. You led and are still leading lots of movements. You've been arrested 12 times. What kept you going? What motivates you? And more specifically, looking back, where's one of your biggest accomplishments?
Well, I think what keeps me going is probably the same thing that keeps you going, is we know that we have a lot of young women out there and people in general that need to be, we want to organize them to become activists, to have them join us in a social justice, racial justice, economic justice movement, because we know that, I love to say this, that the power is in the people, the power is in people's person. But once that they understand this, and that's basically what we do as organizers, is getting them to understand that they actually have the power to make changes. So the more people that we can reach, the more people that we can, get them motivated, then I think that is such a wonderful, wonderful feeling when you know that someone has been enlightened to the point that they are willing to take the precious resource that they have, which is their time, but to commit their time to help organize and to reach other people so that we can make the world a better place. Because ultimately, I think that is our goal. We want a just and a peaceful world, but we have to really motivate people to know that, to let them know that they can achieve it. So, Rim, in your young career, you've already made huge strides in inspiring your peers to take action and to get involved in fighting for their civil rights, even when it isn't easy. So what drives you to do the work that you do and to stand up for those people that are living in marginalized communities and that really need a lot of help, and people that have been denied civil rights?
Going into activism really comes from the privilege I have. I know that I'm extremely privileged to have a supportive family, to have the resources, to have a supportive school. I was able to know that things are going wrong and I need to do something. But this is unfortunately is not the case in the Arab region. And so what keeps me going is the fact that I need to use my privilege for other girls, because my case shouldn't be uncommon. Every girl should know that her voice matters and that she can do lots of things. Now, I would ask you a question that is extremely dear to my heart. What does it mean to be a feminist and also a woman of color?
Well, I will quote Coretta Scott King, Dr. Martin Luther King's widow, who once said this: "We will never have peace in the world until women take power." And I have changed that to say feminists take power, okay? Make it a little bit different, because then we can include some of the men that really support women and support women's reproductive rights and all of the issues, of course, that we know that women fight for. I think it's extremely important for us to promote feminism among women so that women can really feel the sense of their true power. And we know, again, as women of color, that we're still playing catch up, because women of color, of course, are still very much discriminated in the United States of America, and I might say around the world. One of the things about the racial justice movement is that we do want to get rid of the whole issue of skin color to make understand that we are all equal, we're all human beings. And one of my mantras that I like to promote, and I'll share it with you, because I know that you would understand, Rim. And what I like to say to folks is that we are only one human race. We are only one human race. We have a lot of different ethnicities. We have a lot of different skin colors, hair color, eye color, but we only have one human race. And if we can just promote this everywhere and just get rid of the whole issue of white supremacy and white privilege, and that will really open the door for women of color. We have seen that, in the United States of America, and I'm sure that you're really proud of our candidate for the vice president, Kamala Harris, right? Who's a woman of color. But we have to get rid of the racism in our society, and of course the sexism also, so that feminists and women of color can start taking their place and taking their leadership. And you have seen in the United States of America, we are so proud because so many of our movements that we have right now, like Black Lives Matter, the Me Too movement, these are movements that have been started by Black women, and so it really shows that we, as women of color, that we have a lot of leadership that we can offer the world, but we just got to be given the opportunity. And I'm glad to see that you are one of those that is leading us and able to do this. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question now, Rim. So activism is so personal, and it requires a real passion for change. So can you share one story, experience, or a moment that kept you motivated this year? And I know that you have gone through a lot. I know what has happened in your city, the devastating explosion that had lasting and still has lasting consequences, both economic and political, and I'm sure very personal. So that's probably a hard question for you to answer, but give us your best.
Yes, indeed, it is very hard, and especially because I truly believe this year was extremely difficult on all levels. It started the revolution, the time where we saw that we have a potential to change our country and to make history and to reclaim our identity and the fact that we are proud to be Lebanese. But then lots of stuff happened. Lots of crises destroyed our hope in our country. And the final straw was the explosion. It is very hard. It hurts, and it just hurts to say that. But what kept me motivated is the fact that I don't have the privilege anymore. I don't have the choice to take actions, to be activist. This is my responsibility. Seeing my country being destroyed, I cannot stand anymore to see that I won't have a future in this country. And so I still remembered the day after the explosion, when in Lebanon we had a very big protest. This was one of the times I felt the most empowered. But I felt like our anger is valid, and for the first time we're all united and we know who is our enemy. It hurts even more to know that most probably next year I won't stay in Lebanon. And so I kind of have a timeline of 1 year before leaving for college. to make a change and to see Beirut and Lebanon on its feet before leaving. And I keep repeating this to myself. There's a French quote that says, partir, c'est la promesse de revenir. Leaving is the promise of coming back. And so even if I left Lebanon, I know pretty sure that I will come back and I will do something for my country and I will make this change. And this really motivates me. It's not a moment in 2020 or a moment in the history of my country. It's just being Lebanese, this identity that really pushed me to do the work I'm doing and even to aim for bigger stuff for my country.
I want you to tell me, what is that community of change makers? What does that mean to you?
I think one of the things that I'm extremely proud of is the fact that I was able to create a community that is much needed in the Arab region. As you said, we don't have this privilege. It's extremely hard for us to organize. It is extremely hard to get started. And so having this community where we look after each other, where we support each other, because we know that together we can make it work. And because we know that even if the system of oppressions are different in our countries, but still they are extremely similar, and we should support each other because this is a one unified fight. And if a country advances women's rights in the Arab region, then the other country would follow its steps. So having this community is a privilege. It is an honor, and I'm extremely grateful for them.
Well, Rim, I'm actually on another board. It's called the Feminist Majority Foundation. And we do a lot of international work also. And I would love to maybe invite you to join us with our group also. And we can make that connection between the Feminist Majority Foundation. We have organizations with girls all over the world. And so that we can keep this connection going between us and so that we can support each other, uplift each other, because we know that, yes, I like to say this, and I'm sure you agree with me. If there is a meeting somewhere in the world and people are sitting down making important decisions, that unless we have equal numbers of feminists at that meeting and sitting at that board, they're going to make the wrong decisions. So we're going to continue over there in the Arab world and here in the United States to promote and to grow young women to be our leaders, because you are definitely going to save the world and save all of us. So it's just been wonderful meeting you. It's been wonderful meeting you, and I wish you all the luck in the world, and I hope you wish us luck, because we still have a lot of work to do here in the United States, and we're not there yet, but we're all working on it.
Thank you so much. It really means a lot, and especially coming from you. Thank you so much. And I also would take this opportunity to thank Melissa, to thank every single person and family member of Girl Up for their help, their support, for being part of this journey. I wouldn't be able to do this without their support. I want to also take the chance to thank and express my gratitude to Girl Up Lebanon and Girl Up Arab World. Thank you all for everything. And I know this discussion doesn't stop here. The change will happen, but it will take time. So please keep this discussion happening. Keep reaching out if you need anything, and make sure to follow and keep an eye on Girl Up, because we're doing much bigger things. Thank you so much for this conversation. It is an honor. I am extremely grateful to be on this call with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ribbon. I also want to thank Girls Up for including me in this wonderful conversation that we're having today. When we make these connections, it's so important. We know that we live in a global community. Unfortunately, we don't often get the opportunity to talk to somebody on the other side of the world like we're doing today. But I know It Girls Up has so much vision and so much. So part of that vision, of course, is to see how we can really grow and uplift young women here in the United States and around the world. So I am so grateful to be included in this conversation. And I do want to say, Rim, I want to teach you one word in Spanish. And here in the United States, we have a slogan, which, by the way, I invented, but it's called Yes, We Can. President Obama used it in his campaign. And in Spanish, it's Sí se puede, which means not only yes, I can, but it also means yes, we can. And I'm sure that getting young girls and feminists all over the world, and we together are going to make the changes, and we're going to get the kind of social justice, racial justice, economic justice for women and for young girls everywhere. So, si se puede, and thank you, Rim. I love you.
Thank you so much. It means a lot.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. And yes, we will. Right? We will. I'm incredibly honored to call myself a feminist and just to be here and to be listening along. And, for all the like-minded men out there, thank you too. This is a group effort, right? Obviously, this is called Girl Up, but we need every man to man up, right?
Yeah, Nigel, what an amazing conversation. I mean, I know it's hard to be here like in our own houses and not on stage doing this event together, but I mean, that was Lebanon to California and French and Spanish and English. I mean, it was just such a beautiful global acknowledgement of we are really all in this same fight together. And I love that Reem was like making boss like job connections there with Dolores Huerta. Like that was just so amazing. But of course, that was very smart of her to grab her up into her organization. But this is what we do. This is the whole point. And if you are moved by these amazing conversations, I know Nigel has been the one asking you, but I will ask you too. Please click the donate button below. There are thousands of girls just like Reem who are committed to this work. And, we need you to join our community. You can also text Girl Hero to 707070.
I really enjoy football because it makes me feel like I fit in. Many of our students have a background where there are financial problems.
It's not a team if a person's missing.
The End Period Poverty campaign provides schools with period products.
Having periods should not stop us having fun and playing with our friends. I can just be me.
Thank you so much to Always, presenting sponsor of this year's Girl Hero Awards, for supporting Girl Up's gender equality work for girls all around the world.
Our next guest knows a thing or two about girl heroes. She's a singer-songwriter who has opened for Michelle Obama, Gloria Steinem, Jane Fonda, Misty Copeland, and Annie DeFranco, here to perform her song, Heart and Soul. It's our pleasure to introduce Ari Afzar.
Hello, I am Ari Afzar, and I am honored to be here celebrating all the fierce and phenomenal girls and women being honored at this year's Girl Up Girl Hero Awards. It's encouraging and motivating and inspiring to see all of these incredible individuals and watching them as they are changing the world. It's sometimes difficult to find the confidence within yourself, to feel inspired and internally motivated, but I've learned together, if we inspire, encourage, and motivate each other together, we can help make this world a little bit of a better place. Today, I am honored to be with you here virtually, singing Heart and Soul from the musical I'm composing called Jeanette, about the first female identifying Congress member to be elected into Congress, Jeanette Rankin, 4 years before the ratification of the 19th Amendment, giving white women the right to vote. As you celebrate Girl Up's 10th anniversary, I hope this song inspires you to believe International Day of the Girl is your day to seize every single day. Here is Heart and Soul. I was scared of the day with nothing to my name. All the boys growing strong, trying to own what they became. I don't need that pink dress or the heels to make me smile. All I wanted was a chance to make this time on earth worthwhile. My voice ain't so loud, my sights turn them down, but you better get one thing right, I'm gonna win that fight. This is the heart and This is the heart and the soul. Gonna live to the day where I can write my name. Make it count where it hurts, 'cause it all should be the same. And I don't need that handout or second class. I may be stubborn as a fool, but I'm gonna find the truth. My voice ain't so loud, my side's turned up now, but you better get one thing straight, there's no more time to waste. This is the heart and the soul. You're gonna wake up and see me seizing the light. You're not gonna tell us no. Stronger in numbers, we can be within the fight. This is the heart and the soul. You're gonna wake up. You're gonna wake up. You're not gonna tell us no. Stronger in numbers, we can be within the fight. When you look around since the beginning of time, never seeing someone like you in the spotlight, how do you know? How do you know that we are all bold and powerful? It may not come easy, but we have to search for our more foremothers. It may not come free, but we have to take the time to uncover the women who came before. We need more, the bold and powerful. It's not quite a surprise that in their eyes the fire was always inside, whether it be in 1916 trying to get the vote passed, or today trying to get every state to see the ERA, fighting for the right to our bodies, whom we love, who we trust, whom we love, who we become, fighting for that right our own way yesterday and today. Jeanette Rankin was a win we seem to forget, yet she kept going and going, fighting for that first seat that seemed out of reach. For each step she took brought her 3 steps back, yet she kept going and going on one single track. I bring it back to the women who came before. We demand more, 'cause we are bold and powerful. This is the heart and the soul. Congratulations to all you girl heroes. Thank you. Bye.
Wow, again, another wow performance. And we demand more. My goodness, I've talked about, my 10 years a little bit with Girl Up, but this is a sort of a journey of my life, to be honest with you. I grew up with an extraordinary mother and grandmother who were pioneers. I'm part Sri Lankan, for those of you who don't know, and they both, but my mother and my grandmother, really endured a lot and fought through and pushed through and always provided and always did it with grace and humility. And I got to say, when I married my wife, I thought, my goodness, I found someone who's got that exact same heart and soul as my mum and my grandmother. And when we had our son, I witnessed all the things that were available for him, all the opportunities arise. And, I could see his passage. I could see what he could have in life. And then when we had our daughter, Jasmine, I realized perhaps it wouldn't be the same. And that wasn't okay. I knew at that moment, and I should have known before, but to be honest with you, it really dawned on me at that moment with Jasmine in my hands that there was no way I was going to allow anything but the best for her. I wanted her to have every opportunity my son had. I wanted her to be respected just like my son would be. And I have a rather special guest because, like I mentioned, a decade ago, holding that little girl in my hands, Jazzy, here she is now. I can't hardly hold her in my arms now. She's almost as tall as me. Jasmine Barker.
I love you, Dada. Thank you so much. I love Girl Up because it has given me the platform and has recognized my voice. And I believe that no matter the race, the gender, or the sexuality, anything, everybody deserves equal rights.
And there you have it, people. I mean, the reality is that everybody, no matter who they are, deserves to be treated equally. We understand that we are all different, and that's not what this is about. It's about celebrating and giving people equal rights and opportunity. Because without opportunity, what do you have? And Girl Up does exactly that. Time and time again, I have witnessed their programs and I've seen girls rise. I've seen girls come from all spectrums of society. And I've just watched how they've just risen and become extraordinary people who are going to be change makers. So thank you so much, Girl Up. And for everybody out there, once again, please, please help and support Girl Up. Text Girl Hero to 707070 or hit the donate button right below the screen.
Nigel, Jasmine, it's so great to see you. Bye, Jasmine. That's okay. Hey. It's actually been so fun to watch Jasmine grow up as we've worked together, Nigel, over these last 10 years. And you know, I was so moved by Ari's song and her reminder of our power and how we're still really fighting for change. And we're just so lucky to have you and your family in this fight with us, and as a strong male feminist. So thank you for owning that role and showing others that that's how important that is.
Thank you so much. And, you know, it's hard. I mean, I sort of choked up. It's not easy when you're talking about your baby girl, and she's now 5'8", 11 years old, and is absolutely ready to go out in that world and make a difference, make change, and you know, and also sees the inequality and wants to stand up for people everywhere, no matter who they are. And I love it when she's taking initiatives, raising money, and making change and making a difference. And it's because of Girl Up and what you've done. I mean, she tunes in, she looks at your website, she looks at your programs, and they are fantastic. So thank you.
Well, we're lucky to have her. As a global leadership development initiative, we've been inspiring girls like Jasmine and Aaliyah and Reem to lead the movement for gender equality, because girls are equal. Girls equal leaders. Girls equal innovators. Girls equal change makers. And that's something that we all benefit from.
And we started a campaign for our anniversary last month to remind the world of that. And now Girl Up is a network of 4,000 clubs using their voices and their vote to make sure the world never forgets.
For 10 years, our movement for gender equality has given girls access to resources and a platform to create real, immediate change. Through our programming, they're learning to lead by taking action and organizing. They're learning how to help change laws and policies. They're learning to become great storytellers and communicators, leaders in STEM and sports, and raising funds and advocating for girls' education.
Girl Up is giving them all the tools they need to turn their passion into action, to be a generation that leads right now, no matter their age or experience, and to demand a different, more equitable world. Why? Because they have to.
But don't take it from us. You should hear it from 17-year-old Salome.
Girl Up has uplifted and supported more than 75,000 girls worldwide, including me. I, like many of my teen advisor sisters, am a living example of Girl Up's impact. Being part of the 10th class of teen advisors put me in the most privileged position I have been in my life. I was surrounded by fellow activists from 9 different countries, and in a matter of weeks, this TA community taught me the power of intersectionality, diversity, and allyship. They opened my eyes to the world of grassroots activism, guided me in my lowest of lows, and celebrated my highest of highs. All of tonight's honorees represent what Girl Up is, but I would like to take a second and focus on 2 of them. I had the immense pleasure and privilege to work with both Rim Badran and Aaliyah Logan in the 2020 class of TAs. Their non-stopping, change-making, and non-conformist nature make them people that I've admired from the moment I've met them. The resilience, passion, and call for doing what's right epitomize the power of girls and remind us all to be kinder, stronger, and simply better. I have the honor of calling them my sisters. By directly investing in girls, Girl Up recognizes that in order to be an agent of change, we must first recognize our own agency, autonomy, and leadership of self in order to truly understand and dismantle systems of oppression. In my personal experience, Girl Up encouraged me to look deep into my community and what it needed in order to explore the activism that works to instill sustainable change. Thus, Girl Up recognizes that every girl and community need different systems to address inequality. In my case, Girl Up inspired me to explore the unique needs of Colombia through learning about narco-culture and the effects of civil war. Additionally, Girl Up gave me a platform to share my findings in the Girl Up Leadership Summit, where I had the privilege of leading an Inspire session about narco-culture and how it still encourages gender inequality to this day. Through this, I was contacted by several people on social media telling me how they'd seen the same effects on their communities and didn't know how to address it until this session. As such, Girl Up drives change through the uniqueness of experiences and the leadership of girls who are willing to share their own. It's 10 years later, and clearly some progress has been made, but not enough. 10 women are victims of femicide in Mexico every single day. Lebanese women can't pass their nationality on to their children. In Colombia, calls to the domestic abuse hotline have gone up 150% during quarantine. 49.9% of the female youth population in sub-Saharan Africa has either no or limited education. 12 million girls marry every year before their 18th birthday. And at least 200 million girls and women around the world have experienced female genital mutilation. The need for movements and organizations like Girl Up has never been more clear. The intersectional, far-reaching, and inclusive activism that Girl Up promotes is more necessary than ever, and thus, on their 10th birthday, the initiative's existence has never been more important. I want to highlight Girl Up's past impact, but more so, call attention to its relevance today. Girl Up, thank you for teaching us about the power of sisterhood. Thank you for teaching us how to be allies, how to be activists, how to use our power and share the spotlight. Thank you for encouraging girls to join STEM, participate in sports, and exploit their storytelling genius. Thank you for helping us grow into our own. Thank you for encouraging us to embrace our own individuality. Thank you for pushing us to be our better selves. And finally, thank you for investing and believing in girls like me. Gracias.
And thank you, Salome. What powerful words. You know, we need to hear them, and it's very uplifting. It's wonderful, wonderful just to hear the powerful words and to know that, you know, we need action, and we need it right now. You know, remember, don't forget, you can support this generation, these extraordinary people, by clicking on that donate button below the screen right now, or by texting Girl Hero to 707070.
Salome, thank you. I mean, we could have just cut out half of my remarks and let you do them. I mean, you put such a poignant just mark right on why this is needed and really what Girl Up is all about. And I'm so proud to have learned from you and your sisters at Girl Up. And I also want to say a very special thank you to this year's event co-chairs. Your support of this event and Girl Up is crucial to ensuring that any girl who wants to join this movement flex her girl power and gain the skills and confidence to change the world can. Thank you, Laverne Council, Amanda Fata, Ellen Goldsmith-Vane, Michelle King, Stephanie McMahon, Sean Robinson, Pamela Rowland, Tracy Schaefer, Chantel Siegel, Akila Somasegar, and Alexandra Trustman.
I can't believe it's time to celebrate our final Girl Up pairing, Melissa.
I could celebrate girl power all day, every day. I actually get to do that, don't I?
You do.
I know. Well, our next and our final pairing, our next Girl Hero Award goes to Shonda Rhimes, a role model to so many young storytellers. She's an award-winning writer and executive producer known for creating Grey's Anatomy, Private Practice, and Scandal. Shonda's media company, Shondaland, is also producer of How to Get Away with Murder and Grey's Anatomy spinoff series, Station 19 on ABC. Shonda makes television look like the world we live in, the world we all know, one filled with dynamic, multifaceted leaders. Her characters have a lot in common with the girls that are part of the Girl Up movement. They include women who are not okay with the status quo and who strive every day to build a supportive community that lifts other women. Through Shondaland, Shonda is building up the next generation of storytellers and creators while exploring the most relevant topics of our time.
Shonda joins fellow Girl Hero Award honoree and Girl Up Teen Advisor alum Ina Bulapam. Ina is not afraid to dream big and bold, as is always inspiring those around her with her drive and vision for the world. At 19 years old, Ina has already started 2 nonprofits, One Up Action, centered on encouraging the use of direct actions to combat the climate crisis, and Dream Equal, focused on shifting gender perceptions in children. Together, in just under a year, these initiatives have impacted more than 50,000 people in over 40 countries. Ina is also currently pursuing a career in TV and film acting and hopes to always use the platform she's given, no matter how big or small, to advocate for positive change.
We are so excited to introduce these 2 incredible girl heroes, Shonda and Ina, in conversation, sharing how they use storytelling and their different passions as a platform for their activism and advocacy.
Thank you, Melissa, so much for that introduction and for this award. And congratulations, Shonda, for receiving this award as well. I feel so honored to just be thought of in this way and as a girl hero, but honestly, I am so speechless about the fact that I get to receive this award alongside you, Shonda. You are someone that I have looked up to for as long as I can remember, and especially because I'm currently pursuing a career in the entertainment industry. Being able to talk to someone who has been a champion for diversity and representation in the industry and is just such a powerful woman of color in the entertainment industry is so exciting for me.
Thank you for saying that, but I have to say, I'm excited to be receiving this award with you. The things that you have managed to do at your age and at this moment in time, so powerful and so amazing, and you've done it so quickly. That's what I find so inspiring, is that it's taken me a long time to get where I'm going, but you just right out of the gate, the power and the enthusiasm is so special. So I feel like you're just getting started and you're already rocketing to the top.
It means so much to hear these words from you. I genuinely mean I have looked up to you for a long time, so I'm so excited to talk to you. But Shonda, I don't know if you've heard about Girl Up Storytelling Program, but we have a program that encourages girls to pursue careers behind the camera while centering their voices in front of the camera. And your shows have done such an amazing job of portraying so many dynamic characters, specifically women and women of color. And I'm curious, what impact do you hope that this has on the next generation of storytellers and the people watching your shows? And what advice do you have for girls who want to follow in your footsteps, girls like me?
For me, it's really about seeing yourself represented in a way. It was so important for me growing up to have, there were so few representations of women who were like me on television, but when I saw them, it was magnetic. It was magical for me. It was Oprah and Debbie Allen and people like Phylicia Rashad, and getting to see women like that, powerful, interesting, amazing women who were like the women I wanted to be, was so important. And I just feel like everybody should get to see themselves on television. And I don't know that I started out with sort of an activist plan as much as I wanted the world to look like the world that I knew. The world I was writing should look like the world that I knew. And so for me, just making sure that that was true was important and still is important to me. And I feel like I want young women to know going into this business that it's possible. It's very important to understand that if you can tell a good story, that is a powerful thing and there's an audience for it. I feel like that's what I was able to prove early on. And then once that's been proven, people are really hungry for those stories. Everybody wants to hear a story that feels different and fresh and from a new perspective. So everybody's story is powerful and welcome.
Well, Shonda, first of all, I know you said that you wanted to help us like help people increase like the possibility of them feeling like they can be in these spaces. And I want you to know, as someone who is currently pursuing a career in the entertainment industry, I feel like you have helped pave the path, and I thank you so much for that, for helping me feel empowered to be able to take the step in this direction.
Well, I know one of the nonprofits that you founded is working to fight gender stereotypes and bias before it sort of takes root in young people. What pushed you to start Dream Equal and make its mission that? And how did you end up taking a leadership role? And what advice do you have for people also wanting to make an impact in a world like this and with issues that matter to them?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it wasn't one thing that just pushed me. It was just a myriad of experiences that I've had growing up that have made me realize that I am not look the same. Everyone's look differently because of their gender, and everyone has gender stereotypes that are pushed onto them. And it was when I was in high school that I realized the impact that this was having on my mental health and the impact that it was having on the different types of careers that I felt like I could find a place in. And it's when I started realizing that I started to research these issues and try to see if there were other people who are feeling the same way that I did. Because honestly, in the place that I grew up, we never talked about feminism. We never talked about gender equality. I didn't even know those words were in existence. So I started researching these things, and I've heard about how gender stereotypes start to develop at the young age of 5. It's at the age of 5 that girls start to think they're not as smart as boys. And it's at the age of 5 that boys start to think that they can't show their emotions. And I started researching different organizations, and unfortunately I wasn't able to find an organization, regardless of how amazing the feminist movement is, I wasn't able to find an organization that was tackling this issue at the age in which it develops. And so it's through finding that gap in the movement and realizing that an ounce of prevention is always worth more than a pound of cure. And so realizing that, I decided I need to start a program that tackles gender inequality at the age in which it develops. Because if we prevent these issues, then we truly can, make a new generation that is empowered in themselves and empowered to be themselves. And that's really what it all was for me. And realizing that, there's a lot of organizations that only focus on girls, and they only focus on older people. And I just wanted one that focused on all genders, because everyone's affected by gender inequality, and we need everyone involved in the movement. So really that's all it was for me. And that kind of brings me, I guess, to my advice that I have. And the main thing is that I didn't know about feminism when I started Dream Equal. Like, honestly, I think that's just a testament to show that you really do not have to know everything to start it. And if you feel like you need to know everything, then you're never actually going to start, taking action. And so I started, going through and figuring out how to take action. I just literally looked on the internet, and you can do that too. It's very much just realizing that you grow as your movement grows.
I think that's brilliant. I still don't feel like I know everything. And I think that the idea that you're supposed to wait until you're ready, you're never going to be ready. So I think that there's a power and a beauty to that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Shonda, I'm actually, like I just said, I'm currently pursuing a career in TV and film acting, and I often think of acting as a form of activism for me. And your shows explore so many relevant social and racial justice issues in many episodes. The entire series, explores these things. And I'm wondering, why have you chosen to explore these specific topics, and why is that important to you?
I think I'm telling the stories that reflect where we are right now. I'm telling the stories that reflect where I am right now, where I see a lot of young people are right now. I feel, where we are in the world at this moment, I like to tell the stories that interest me. And those are the stories that are interesting to me. There is a desire to, educate, yes, but I'm not necessarily putting that as my mission. I always say, shows that have as their mission only the desire to educate people are often shows that are called canceled. But what I'm really trying to do is to entertain people, but also get them to think. And if you tell stories that you're passionate about, and you tell stories that are interesting to you, and you tell stories where characters are struggling with things, and not just all tell one side of them, but tell both sides, then you're really going to get people to think, and you're really going to get people to at least explore a different way of thinking. And to me, that's important. We are in a world where people don't want to explore both sides of anything. And I really want people to explore both sides of things. And just to think about it in a new way, that's a victory.
For sure. So Shonda, I actually was a part of Girl Up, and I had a Girl Up club back at home in Nebraska, and the main thing that we do as Girl Up members is just use our voices and platforms to fight for equality for people in the place that we live and for people all over the world. And as you know, there's a lot at stake in the upcoming US election, and many club members are actually holding voter registration drives and voting for the first time. I actually just submitted my mail-in ballot, which is very exciting. And
congratulations.
Yeah, it's just so exciting. I never thought that the first election that I'd vote in, I would get to vote for an Indian woman, and that's just so cool to me. So it's such an exciting thing. And
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, Shonda, like, how have you been encouraging people to vote, and why is that so important to you?
You know, I've been a part of Mrs. Obama's When We All Vote for a while now, which is an amazing way of sort of helping to rally people to vote, which she came up with. But I've also just, you know, I worked really hard on the 2016 election, which was, I campaigned before, but this was like the first time I'd really sort of been boots on the ground, really trying to get people to register to vote. And a lot of it was about the fact that I had a daughter who was asking me questions. You know, was starting to be of the age to really ask me questions about like why it was so important and what was going on. And the more I explained to her, you know, it's important to choose your mayor. It's important to choose your governor. It's important to choose your Senate. It's, you know, the people who run your school board. Somebody, you know, by voting, you're choosing the person who like decides the temperature of your water. I mean, it's insane like how much voting really matters. And we don't think about that. But you're really choosing your future when you vote. And if you think about the fact that in the past, for almost everybody, somebody died for our rights to vote. I mean, literally, there's been bloodshed for our rights to vote. If you're a woman, literally, if you're an American, somebody died for your right to vote. And the idea that we would take that for granted makes me so sad. So to me, like, it's so important to be counted and have your voice heard and to know that you've stood up and said, like, this is what I think. And when you do that, you're saying, I matter. And I want my kids to know that they matter. And I think that all people should think that they matter, their voice matters. And so to me, like, every time I can work on a voter PSA, or I can, you know, work on a voter registration drive, or I can help come up with a way that's going to get people to the polls, I get excited. So, you know, I've been doing some voter PSAs. I've been doing, you know, a lot of voter education drives and just doing anything I can that anybody comes up with to help get people to vote. Because I feel like even just making sure people are registered, making sure people understand how to vote is important, because a lot of that information is not easily available, you know, the way you think it should be. Voting is powerful. Voting is your power. So I want people to have it.
Yeah, completely agree. I 100% agree. And it's just like so exciting for me to the first time to have the power to vote. I don't take it for granted, and I know it's something that, you know, everyone fought for.
I think your generation has such a different, just a much more mature, intelligent look at the way voting is happening, the election is happening, and just a different view in activism. It's so refreshing to me, because I think, you know, my generation, I don't think we were looking at it that way when we were your age. What do you think, why do you think your generation has this sort of unique view, and why do you think you have such a strong activism and such a strong will? Why do you think that is? Because I find it fascinating, and I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is our generation has been put in a very, very difficult situation with the world that we've been given in. We have been put in a world that is literally dying, and I think that has put us in a place where there is no time for us to just talk about the issue, to think that things are just the way that they are. We bring a sense of action because we have to, and we don't have a choice. And I think like a lot of people will come and talk to me, they'll be like, oh, Gen Z is so inspiring. Like, I don't know if I completely agree with that. It's just that we don't have a choice, and we are fighting for our right to live on a breathable planet. We bring a sense of action. We bring a sense of, I'm just trying to live. and you know, that's really why I think it is. And we've kind of honestly been put in a pretty terrible situation, and we've been forced to figure out how to deal with it. And we deal by taking action. We don't deal by complaining. We don't deal by saying, oh yeah, someone else will figure it out. We don't have time. The clock is ticking, and we don't accept the way things are.
I love that you're saying it's not that you're inspiring, it's the urgency that's making it all go. I think that that's just so practical and so smart. And it's true. Like everybody wants to sort of say like, oh, it's inspiring, it's beautiful. But what is unique is that you have a sense of urgency and that you are aware of the sense of urgency, because I think that there's been a lot of people who, I mean, plenty of generations going on who should be aware of the sense of urgency who aren't. So there's a power in that too.
Yeah, it's very hard not to be with the situation that we've been put in.
I think that what's exciting to me is I'm always very interested to see what our government's going to look like in 20 years when your generation is of the age to sort of have completely taken over. I'm truly excited about that because I think it's going to be a very powerful, very interesting, very dynamic, and very changed government. And I'm excited for that.
I'm excited too. It's going to change the game.
Oh yeah, please change the game. Please. I will be cheering for it and I will be a part of it as best I can. So thank you for everything.
Shonda, thank you so much for talking to me today. I really appreciated all your time and being able to have this discussion with you.
I have loved it. This is wonderful. And I think this is such an incredible organization. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next with it and watching it grow and being a part of whatever happens next. It's just amazing.
Thanks so much, Shonda and Ina. Wow, again, and again. And of course, that sense of urgency, it is all about right here, right now. And as desperate as things sound and as embarrassing as it is almost to think that this is the world we're giving the next generation to inherit, it's not over at all by any stretch. And in fact, we can make a difference and we can make a change. And thanks so much for talking about voting, because absolutely, get out there, vote, and let's make a difference. Ina and Shonda, thank you.
Yeah, I've heard that sentiment from the Gen Z leaders of Girl Up a lot. And what they often tell me is that we cannot pass the baton to the next generation. Nigel, you and me and the rest of us adults, like we are in this fight with them. And so we really hope that all of you that are watching, who, you know, have been out in this world, living in this experience, really feel compelled to join our Girl Up leaders, to join Ina and Reem and Aaliyah and Salome and the rest of the girls of the Girl Up community, because the fight is still ours and the fight isn't over. It's going to take all of us. We hope that you're as inspired as we are about what we've heard today. It's just been so many incredible conversations across generations, across time zones, but that inspiration has to drive you to action.
And speaking of which, one more time, please, please, please consider supporting Girl Up and this next generation of leaders, girl leaders, and bring out the leader in you. Make a difference, and please text Girl Hero to 707070 to make that donation, or press the donation button below. And you can also visit girlup.org to make a difference and learn more about this incredible organization and join the fight.
Yeah. A very special thank you to our forever girl heroes, the girls in our network all over the world who are on the ground making a difference. We can't change the world without them, and they can't change the world without you. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Always, our event sponsors, UiPath Foundation, the Stadler Family Foundation, Dove, and Noel Panacea. And a special thank you to our event donors and any of you who were compelled to donate today.
In fact, thank you all for tuning in, supporting a more equal world for us all. Support the young people in your lives, the activists, the champions, and the girl heroes in your community. Invite them to join Girl Up today.
Thank you to everyone who made this event possible, to our honorees, to you, Nigel, for being my co-host today, and to all of you, our allies in this journey toward equality. Stay connected. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Girl Up and at Girl Up Campaign on Instagram. We're so excited to share with you what we're doing next.
Meanwhile, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you.